Hi, I'm Old Sneelock. Welcome to another episode of Old Sneelock's Workshop. No, we're not lost in the caves. I'm down in the workshop in the basement though, and there's been an issue. For a long time I've had the basement workshop, and I've lit it with incandescent bulbs. Now I've tried LED bulbs in the past and they just didn't seem to have what it needed. They were too dim, the light was the wrong color, and they just didn't work. Well, about a year ago I bought a set of strip lights and put them up underneath the cabinets in the kitchen. They're very nice for lighting up the countertop. As we get older, our eyes aren't as good as they used to be, and I have cataracts in my right eye, so I need a lot of light. I'm finding that it's more and more difficult to see. Now, they're not severe cataracts and I don't need surgery yet, but I'm used to having razor sharp vision. Up until I was 35, I didn't need glasses. Big thing I was looking for was down here in the basement. In the summertime, it's cold. It's because we have the air conditioning running. The air conditioning makes cold air, and cold air sinks, so the basement, which has no thermostat, is cold. It's like 5-10 degrees colder than it is upstairs, where the thermostat is. That means that when I have the lights on in the basement in the summertime, it actually brings it up to about a normal room temperature, because I have 10 light bulbs down, 10 100-watt light bulbs. That's 1,000 watts of radiant energy, both light and heat. So LEDs had kind of a bad time in the summer because they made it so that it was cold. But in the wintertime, it's just the opposite. The upstairs, which is out in the atmosphere, is a lot colder than it is down here in the basement that's insulated in this big bank of dirt around it. So when I have all the incandescent lights on in the wintertime, it gets bloody hot down here. You can see me sometimes sweating, which is kind of unusual. So I looked into LEDs again. About a year ago, I bought some lights and put them underneath the cabinets in the kitchen. Now those worked out really well, but they're only that far from the place where you're trying to see. So the amount of light that they give is considerably more than having them 8 feet up on the ceiling and trying to see something on the floor. I tried LED light bulbs. I didn't get LED fluorescent replacements. They were kind of expensive. Well, I found some strip lights for a reasonable price. Went to Myers and they had them in there on sale. That's how I work, try and save money whenever I can. But I bought them and I brought them down and put them into the basement here, and they sat on the shelf for about 6 months because it was summertime. Now that it's winter, I'm thinking, okay, let's see what I can do with those LED lights. So I mounted 2 of the LED light strips over the top here. And I'm going to try and do a comparison. It's going to be rough because they're 2 entirely different light sources. This is the basement with one 100-watt light. The area right around the light bulb itself is brilliantly lit. I have a lot of light coming, but it's a single point source, so there's a lot of shadows. Anything behind me, the light is blocked. So that means I have to have multiple light bulbs just to make it so that there's no shadows in the area when I'm trying to do work. I'll trim this back off. This is the 2 LED strips. Now they're not a point light source. There's actually 2 strips about 2 feet long. They only use 6 watts. Each one has a light output of 540 lumens. 540 lumens. This light bulb has about 1200 lumens. So between the 2 of these, they're just about equal to one light bulb. But it's not a point light source. Because there's a multiple number of LED lights in this strip, it spreads the light out over a larger area. So it's kind of nice, but it's not enough light. You put the 2 of them together, then you start adding point source. These are work lights that I put on the bench for when I'm doing close-up work. I have a fairly well lit area right here in front of me. There's minimal shadows, and I'm able to work. The nice thing is I don't have a really hot light source right over my head, which is what I would have if I put up more incandescent light bulbs over the top of the bench. This one here puts out quite a bit of heat, and it's pretty close, and I can feel the heat radiating off of it. Even with that turned off, with the LEDs over the top of the bench, I can see to work fairly well. Now, if I was to run across a set of those fluorescent light LED replacement bulbs, probably would hang the fluorescent light that I've got over the top of the bench. I don't like fluorescent lights. It's a different kind of light. I have a bank of those over the top of the workbench here because it was here when I bought the house. It puts out a lot of light, and I can see clearly, but it's just an off color. It just seems to be off color. Now I know there's daylight bulbs and all different kinds of light bulbs that I can get for fluorescence. But I have a whole box of these, and I'm not going to buy a new fluorescent light. The other thing that you get is, do you hear the hum? It's buzzing the whole time it's on. That buzzing is annoying. Now the squeaking, that's the chains rattling back and forth in the staples that they're stapled to the ceiling on. So it's constantly making buzzing sounds. Most of the time, if you bump the cord, it's rattling back and forth. I've had it 8 years. I've never gone beyond plugging it in because I said I'm going to get rid of it. All things take time. So these are my choices: incandescent, LED, fluorescent. None of them are exactly what I want. Ideally, I'd have sunlight coming down on the bench, and I'd have 3 suns, so I'd have 2 in front of me for good light in front of me and 1 behind me for a backlight. Not going to happen. Trying to run a camera. Camera's finickier than I am. I mean, it needs a lot more light than I do to see. Even though this is a really good low light camera, you can tell that because you could actually see me with the lights off. It doesn't like being in the shadow. So, going to see if I can get some more LEDs. I actually like the light from the LEDs better than I do the fluorescents. They're quiet. They don't put out a lot of heat. And I think they're an improvement. Still not going to give up on my incandescent bulbs just because I'm a stubborn old coot. And I hate it when somebody says I have to do something. Telling me I can't buy 100-watt light bulbs, kind of like waving a steak at a lion. Makes us pretty feisty. If you have any suggestions for a new video, questions about today's video, or any of the other videos on the channel, just drop a note in the comments. You know I read them all. Thanks for watching. And if you have any suggestions for a better way to do this, I'm open to suggestions. Lighting has been a pain in the butt for the last 8 years.